This is Daddy Show. Step off.
It's time for the main event.
Hey, what is up? Welcome back to the Pro, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and this right here is Tom Clark's main event. What's up, kids? Welcome back to the program. Good to see you. I got to be honest with you. This light's doing nothing for me. In my office space, I have like the, not LED, but the old fluorescent bulbs, yes. It's not agreeing with my skin color because right now I'm looking a little dead. I'm just saying. I'm kind of looking Undertaker-ish up in here. So, yeah. I'm not quite as tall, and I definitely don't have his politics. Hey, look out. Anyway, happy Friday to you. Good to see you. Tom Clark here, episode number 312. Can you believe it? We are rolling, Jack. We're doing what we do here on the show. Very good to have you all on board. I'm going to do something a little bit different this time. You know, what I was going to do was bring out the Tom Clark's main event dancers. They're over there waiting in the wings. They've been tuning up. Hang on, girls. Hold on. There's guys in there too. I'm not sexist. Dancers can work from all walks of life. No matter who you identify as, you're welcome to be a dancer. You know what I mean? Maybe next week. To feed and clothe these people, you have no idea. I don't have the budget for this. I keep threatening to bring them on, and every week we just don't have the time. So unfortunately, we don't. But we do have a guest who's pouring himself a beverage, and I'm giving him time to finish because I don't want to bring him on and mid-pouring him go, oh, like that. It'd be caught in the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, you know this young man from the Untitled Wrestling Podcast. You'll also know him soon from a brand new little podcast that we may reveal here today. Uh-oh, maybe not. Who knows? It depends on what kind of mood I'm in. As you can tell, I feel great. I'm in a good mood, Jack. I got stuff happening this weekend. I got stuff happening today. I'm all good. Let's bring him on. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only from the Untitled Wrestling Podcast, a great friend of the show here, Mr. Jay Luft. Jay, what's going on, my friend? Good to see you.
Hello, I'm good. I'm very excited about this new project.
I am too.
Which I realized I've got the background of still.
Oops. You know what? It's no big secret. Well, I actually broke it on the show last week because I said on the air, I was thinking about doing a Ted Lasso podcast. Kids, if you are in the audience watching the show today and you are a fan of the Ted Lasso, boy, have I got news for you, because Jay and I and a gentleman I just met actually 30 minutes ago named Joe, he's going to join us. We're going to
straight away put something in the comments about that.
Has he really? There he is. Joe's going to join us on the show. Yeah, we'll save the title for you. But how about that? It's going to be a Ted Lasso podcast. When it gets closer, I'll reveal the title. We'll show you some graphics, and we'll go from there. I'm very excited to get this done. So if you guys have never watched Ted Lasso, get the Apple TV. Please watch it. Or if you wanna, you could watch it and then listen to the show that corresponds with it. That might be fun. I'll let you know when you can start watching. And if you've watched it before, you can just watch it again. How about that? Let's say our hellos. Ray All Day is in the house. Hello, Ray. Sandy in Germany. Guten Tag to you, sir. Sugar Shane, what's going on? Good to see you. Jamel in Vejas is here. What's up? How are you today? Let's see who else we got here. Chad, where are you? There he is. Chad, too bad. We are going to talk about some Collision today. Trust me when I tell you that. Will, happy Friday to you as well. Also, Tim is heavily campaigning for Ray to be on my show. He is heavily campaigning for Ray to be back on the show. Ray, your biggest supporter is Timothy Gonzalez. Happy Father's Day to you, sir. Good to see everybody here. Before we get cranking here today, kids, if you will, please share this feed. Share the show on your Facebook page. It would mean loads to me and Jay. That'd be awesome of you. Please, it'd make my day. It'd make me happy. Don't you want to make me happy? My only goal in life is to make the audience happy. I lives and breathes for it. So help a brother out, would you? Spread the word. Spread the good word of Tom Clark's main event. Hi, we'd like to tell you about Tom Clark's main event. Knocking at the door with my shirt and tie. If that's bringing back any bad memories. Do they do that in your country, Jay? Do they campaign door to door and want to tell you about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that much, but they do
Yeah.
it. But...
It's not as bad as I've seen before. Most time they're well dressed, well spoken, very polite young men. But I'm like, nah, thank you though. Have a great day. Anyway. Oh, Sandy, you're the man. Sandy Dunn shared it in his Facebook wrestling group. Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate you. Everybody, please smash the like button while you're here also. Again, would mean loads to me. Thank you. Please and thank you. Jay, we got lots to talk about here on episode number 312. Let's kick off with AEW Collision. I'm going to put you on the spot right out the gate. You know how I roll. Jay, what is it? All right. How do I phrase this? Does this show need to be a runaway hit with the first
episode? I think it needs to make a statement for sure. I think the thing with Rampage was it started off really hot, and then it kind of like petered out after about 6 weeks. And that's not to say there was bad episodes of Rampage and bad matches, but it was just they didn't make it like subscription like watching. I think obviously with this being where Punk's going to be, it's already going to be kind of a guarantee that people are going to tune in for that. It's how they keep people tuning in. But I mean, looking at the ticket sales as well, like it certainly seems to be that like the first episode they've like almost sold it out, and then everything after the ticket sales have been real slow. So I think that's the other thing. I think people are kind of a bit more nervous about buying into it just yet because they don't want it to be another Rampage.
That's the fear. And, you know, we've heard for years, not just now because they're going to do it on Saturday. We've always heard for years that Friday night's a tough night for television. Saturday night's almost impossible. I saw Jonathan Coachman had something to say about it a month or two back. Made the comment that I guess that he meant, and we as in WWE, had tried a Saturday night show and it didn't work out. And he wasn't like, you know, being all like that about it, but it kind of felt like, you're probably a WWE guy anyway. So I didn't get too bent out of shape over that. Do you think that Saturday night's a tough night, right?
I don't know. WWE run all the pay-per-views that like Saturdays now, don't they? So it can't be like I saw a really good point made where it's like a Saturday night is easier to kind of accommodate for people because obviously they don't have to like move around like work commitments and like other stuff. They're largely people who work like a 9-to-5 job are free on a Saturday evening. And I know it's going to be easier for me to watch on a Saturday evening with the time difference. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm very excited for it. They've literally just announced the commentary team for it as well, which has got me more excited. Tony Khan put a tweet out about half an hour ago. It's going to be Kevin Kelly, Nigel McGuinness, and JR.
You had me at Kevin Kelly.
Yeah, same. Kevin and Nigel are a good team from Ring of Honor.
Oh my God. Yeah. Kevin is fantastic.
Always fun.
Yeah.
In sort of smaller doses these days, but still.
There's nothing like salty JR on your commentary team.
Yeah. I feel like if they get him out for the last hour, he's gonna do a good job. Well, he's not too sleepy. He's just happy to be there. Old
and cranky JR. I go back to that when they were first putting AEW together, and they were talking about Jim Ross and was it Cody that had that sound bite? It's the best sound bite ever. And he says, "Why are we bringing in Jim Ross? Because he's effing Jim Ross." And it's the way he says it was like, "What are you, an idiot?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I agree. People can argue all day long. He's lost a step, Tom. Jim Ross is still with us, and he can call matches. And if he's willing to do it, and wants to do it. How do you not have him do it? Like,
I think as I say, like, keep him in small enough doses that he can like remain interested, because I don't think it's so much a case of him being bad at it. I think you can tell, obviously, he's older. He gets tired easier because time's catching up to him. You can tell he's like later in a show, he's not enjoying it as much. He's not as invested, and he'll stumble over his words a bit more because he's tired. That's a fair thing. Get him out for the last hour. I think that's great. A great way to kind of get people sort of tuning in the second hour. If they're going, oh, JR is going to be calling like the main event of this, I want to see that.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that's a really strong kind of commentary theme to have around him.
100%. We'll see how that bit goes. I'm looking forward. Again, I'm a big Kevin Kelly guy. The work he's done with awesome. Japan has just been bang up. Great job, and busy. He might be the busiest commentator in wrestling right now, honestly, because he does travel back and forth to Japan. Let's talk about this show, Collision. I do fear that tomorrow night the ratings will be very, very good for them on a Saturday night, but I do fear that, and I'm going to say go off a cliff, but that's not to suggest the show won't be good moving forward. I think a combination of the time slot and are you going to fatigue the fans at some point? I don't have an answer to that. These are just questions. I don't know how I feel about all that. I think anything's possible, but I don't necessarily want anything. I definitely don't want to see anything negative to happen for them. But do you think that this card and do they have the ability with subsequent cards without Kenny and without the Bucks and without Paige? Do they have the firepower to load it up and make you watch it?
I think they do. They've only announced one match, haven't they? Well, technically two, I guess, Miro as well. But I don't think they've. I was trying to find the card before we started. I couldn't see anything. But obviously they've got that big 6-man.
Yep.
Like I think Punk's going to be like the kind of selling point. They've said Miro's coming back to action. They did announce Buddy Matthews versus Andrade, didn't they as well? Which,
yes.
Again, that'll be a fun match.
It will.
I think they'd be smart to kind of like load up on as maybe like not big names, but names that people obviously there's people are crying out to see more of, like House of Black, like Miro, like Andrade, people who have kind of like been away from TV for a little while, and you can see the fans have been kind of like clamoring to see. They have.
So we've got the 6-man, of course, with Punk, FTR against Bullet Club Gold and Samoa Joe. We've also got Wardlow versus Luchasaurus.
Oh God, yeah.
Sky Blue and Willow Nightingale against Ruby Soho and Tony Storm.
That'll be fun.
I'm gonna tell you right, if you're not a Sky Blue fan at this point, I feel bad that you're so stupid.
She's so great. She's so great.
So great.
Willow as well is fantastic. Yeah. She's one of my favorite wrestlers, full stop. Like whenever Willow's on TV, I'm watching. She's great.
Yeah. I mean, it's again, kids, whether you're watching now or after the fact, or listening after the fact, whatever that looks like, if you're not giving this company a chance, you're doing life wrong. That's not because it's the best company in the world. No one's saying that. But watch it for no other reason than the talent they have. It's off the charts, man, how good a lot of this talent really, truly is. Jeffrey says they should have put it on at 6 p.m. Eastern, so not to conflict with other wrestling pay-per-view or WWE pay-per-view.
I mean, one thing with that is that the next WWE pay-per-view is in London. So it's not going to be conflicting with it.
Right, good call.
They've relatively got like a straight run going into SummerSlam where they're not going to be clashing with WWE. They'll be clashing with the UFC. They'll be clashing with college football and stuff like that, but they won't be clashing with WWE.
Good call.
So
good call.
Yeah.
Ray, I know you threw this up a couple of times. Ray was there in person at Double or Nothing. MJF versus Cole. I I mean, they're going to come. They're going to come back to this. Obviously, I mean, it's not going to be a one and done situation. It can't be, right? I mean, or do you think it was?
I think they're planting the seeds for All In.
There you go.
And I'm not just saying that because I'm going to be at All In.
Ah,
I think they did a really, really good job here of making Cole feel like he's on MJF's level. Obviously, they went to the time limit draw, and MJF refused to give him 5 more minutes after pretty much throwing the kitchen sink at Cole as well. He literally did everything in his arsenal. He tried to take every shortcut he could, and Cole had an answer for it. And then obviously MJF just took his tail between his legs and ran. I think this is a match that could main event Wembley, or could be very high up on the card if they happen to have anything that's bigger than this. I think this is definitely MJF's next world title feud.
I agree. Actually, I think that's a good point for sure. We've got some other comments here. Timothy says that was great about AEW. They build, I guess you mean homegrown stars, which for a lot of respects you can say that, because a wider audience wasn't familiar with a lot of these folks until they showed up on national television. Jeans, good to see you. Hope you're hanging in there. All the best to you. Jean's been going through a tough time, kids. Give her your best as we're all here. I know she would greatly appreciate it. Tina, glad to have you back on the show. Good to see you. Chad Too Bad's throwing us out a question. This is a good one because a lot of people are talking about this. What do you do with all the wrestlers who were in Dark and the other shows canceled? House shows, maybe, just asking your opinion. I mean, don't you just load up Collision? Just load it up, right?
Load up Collision. They've still got Rampage there to use that to showcase kind of the undercard talent. You can do it where you have a sort of one or two high profile names on there, but have it with guys that you and girls you want to put a bit more of a shine on. Ring of Honor have been doing a great job of giving a lot of the women's division in particular the time to kind of have longer matches and wrestle in front of a crowd and wrestle on TV. As you mentioned before, Sky Blue, perfect example of that.
I mean, honestly, they had me believing she's going to win that belt Wednesday.
Yeah. She definitely didn't feel out of place against Tony.
No, God, there's something about Sky Blue. It's just I find myself, and it's not trying to sound creepy here, but I just find myself continuously drawn to some performers. I'm just drawn to, can't stop watching. She's wise beyond her years. You know what I mean? It's amazing. The IQ of some of the youngest talents in this business is just mind blowing to me, honestly. Dan says, I'm tired after bowling. What do you expect between Jimmy and Jay on SmackDown tonight? I think this Bloodline storyline is going to continue well after we're all dead and gone. I don't know. I'm not making fun of it. I'm just saying I don't know how to even call it at this point, man. What do you think is the ultimate outcome of this, if you had to guess?
Solo single star. Make Solo the star out of the whole thing because he's the one with the kind of future ahead of him.
That's fair. Sugar Shane says, seeing that Collision is on Saturday nights, will they stay 2 hours or will they go longer? There's a 2-hour show as of right now. Whether or not they can go longer depends on the network, right?
Yeah, I think Tony Khan said a few times when he's been asked about it, he'd never go over 2 hours. Purely because he sees the complaints about Raw being 3 hours, which makes a lot of sense.
Chad says MJF slapping at a fan. I would highly doubt that was a fan. I highly doubt it. Either that or it was somebody that one of the boys knows and played along. Don't quote me. I don't know that for a fact, but I just don't think you I don't think it's wise to do that with anybody in the crowd, because for all you know, that guy could suddenly snap, or he could take a shot back and then it's a fight. I firmly suspect that was not an actual fan that MJF did that to. So,
yeah.
maybe
That being said, he did have that massive security guard with him when he did it.
That's fair too. Yeah.
So the guy's not going to do anything back to him because he's going to get tackled before he can even try.
That's fair too. The biggest story of tomorrow night, Jay, of course, is the thing that you and we've all been talking about it for 6 effing months. Is the return of Punk. And we can't gloss over it. We can't act as though it's not happening. We're talking about Collision, for God's sake. The AEW interview with Punk has come out on ESPN. I don't know how I'm feeling about this. I'm going to quote some lines here, folks, so bear with us here. Quote, "I know pro wrestling is absolutely the most bizarre form of entertainment on earth, but to me, I treat it like a business, and I treat it like the television show that it is. So y'all haven't seen me since I won the belt. I'm coming back. Tune in to find out exactly what I have to say. I'm picking up right where I left off." End quote. What do you take away from this interview, Jay? Does he sound... Is he working a little bit? Is he pensive at all? I mean, does he get it? What's your takeaway from this?
So I read this before we started filming, and it feels like he's kind of saying one thing, but then he's acting another way. So he's saying, "Oh yeah, I tried to make amends with everybody, and they lawyered up and that." And he's like, "But that could have been because the third party said that you're not allowed to talk to one another." But then he's straight away like taking shots at Hangman and acting like he was almost like he was playing the victim, like saying, "Oh yeah, Hangman was working really stiff with me. He hit me really hard. I felt scared in that match." It's like, "Oh, shut up. Just like, you're meant to be wrestling Kenta next week. Like, I've got news for you. If you think Hanger's stiff, wait till you meet Kenta." Like, I don't know. I think the best thing for everyone involved in it is to just all get together in a room, sit down and talk it out like grown-ups. Have like Arn Anderson and Jericho and someone else who's like quite a good kind of like mediator in a situation like this. Just make sure that it doesn't devolve into like just a he said, she said thing, and just talk it out. Then you don't have to work together. You don't have to be best friends, but I think it's a lot less of a toxic environment than splitting up the entire roster based on the fact that like this top guy and these top guys fell out.
The fact that you got the most popular and the biggest star on your roster, arguably, next to Jericho, can't play nice with others.
Well, there's the fact as well they're going to be in the same building together like the week after next anyway for Forbidden Door.
Good call. Good call. Going back to the Page thing, if anyone needs their memories refreshing, Page said on TV when all this was going on, quote, "You talk a big game about workers' rights. Well, you've shown the exact opposite since you got here. I love this place. I care about this place. This is my home. And this Sunday, Double or Nothing, I will not be defending this championship against you. No, for the first time in my life, I'll be defending all elite wrestling from you," end quote. According to what was said in this interview, and according to what Punk said, Page told him that he said what he did because Punk had AEW wrestler and coach Colt Cabana fired from the company, or at least tried to. Punk denies this, said he didn't tell Khan to fire anybody. I don't know what to make of that. Punk answered in this interview, quote, "And I proceed to have what I think is a garbage match because I'm trying to protect myself on stuff instead of actually just working and trying to put on the best performance I can. I'm keeping an eye out. He chopped me in the mouth one time, and I'm just like, okay, did you do that on purpose? You chipped my tooth." And I'm like, all right, should I give him a receipt? It changes the dynamic. It poisoned everything for me, and it made it all really, really ugly. And that was what set all this off, because here we are every year later, and ain't blank been done about it, end quote. I will take his side on this because, oh, Jay, it's tough. It's so tough because, as you just said about Kenta, and you're right, and I'm not disputing what you said, this idea that wrestlers are supposed to be the toughest guys on the planet. And, we've heard stories of the 70s and 80s of, Cowboy Bill Watts and the old UWF. If you got your butt kicked in a bar, you lost your job because he couldn't have his wrestlers not being tough guys in public. And that's a true story. So, but at the same time, Jay, these guys have to work again tomorrow night. And if you decide I'm going to be stiff with him, okay, but did you talk to him? Did you try to talk it out first? Did you go to him like a man? And I'm not saying Punk didn't, I don't want to say the word deserve, but had Page just went to him first and maybe they tried to clear that air. It sounds like none of that happened.
But even then, like, Hangman's already got a reputation for work, like being a stiff worker. Like, you can tell just looking at his style that he's a stiff worker. It's not hard for Punk in that situation as the veteran to turn around and go, lighten up a little bit, like loosen up a bit, like you hit me a bit hard here, like, and then Hangman would probably, being the professional he is, go, oh, sorry, and just at the end of the day, Punk's acting like, in that situation, Punk's acting like he's like Hangman's the veteran. He's like some like kid who's new to the business. The way he's talking about it, and it's like Hangman seems like a really nice guy. He seems like a nice enough guy that if someone says, can you like lighten up with the hits a bit, you go, oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So I feel like Punk's being a bit dramatic there.
That's fair. I can't argue that point. That's 100% fair. As the veteran, look, kids, what don't you know about pro wrestling and how it works at this point? We probably all know everything, or at least we think we do. The veteran calls the match. As it has been for years, the heel calls the match, okay? Unless the veteran is the baby face, all right? And then that baby face has two options. He will still call the match and choose to give the heel all the spots, or he will allow the heel to call the match. And a lot of that is up to the two guys in the ring. It's their call. The promoter can tell you what he wants, and if it's a John Cena or it's a Roman Reigns or if it's a Kevin Owens or if it's a John Moxley, that guy may choose to say, you know what? I'm letting Jungle Boy call this. Jungle, you got this? All right, let's go. So, but 9 times out of 10, like we said, the veteran calls the match. And to your point, if Punk had a problem with any of this, probably could have said something. Timothy, you got an interesting opinion here. Punk turns heel at the end of Collision and joins Bullet Club Gold. I don't, and me personally, Jay, I don't see that because Jay White is so effing amazing. How do you overshadow that guy?
I think purely for the fact that they've just brought out a CMFTR shirt with like the Heart Foundation logo on it. I don't think for a second Punk's turning on any FTR. I think that it's more likely going to be that they do a blood and guts on Dynamite and a blood and guts on Collision, and it's Punk, FTR, and Ricky against Bullet Club Gold.
Yeah,
that seems like the more kind of logical way I'd book it personally.
Please tell me the Guns are in Bullet Club Gold. If we confirm this, I'll love those guys.
I think they are after what they did to my boy Ricky Starks. Still haven't forgiven them for that 310 to Unir on Ricky.
So good.
But yeah, I think they're perfect fits as well. They're like they're kind of like just two really good like sort of like henchmen, aren't they, to be put in that faction.
New Age Outlaws sound familiar? New Age Outlaws, an offshoot of DX. The Guns, an offshoot of Bullet Club Gold. I think it's perfect. CRP's in the house. Good to see you, my friend. Josh is here. Who else showed up? Eric Jackson's in the house. There he is. Good to see you, man. Thanks, guys, for showing up. Please smash the like button while you're here and share this show on your feed. It's much appreciated. I got to get out of this chair. My back is cramped. That's the perils and pitfalls of sitting at a table all day long. Who am I to complain? This is the opinion of the hour. Chris Bay should be a part of Bullet Club Gold. Oh, bring him in. You kidding?
Yeah, him and Ace Austin, just bring them in as part of Bullet Club Gold.
Man, I'm a big Chris Bay guy. What's up, Robbie? Good to see you. Let's go a little bit over a little bit more of this, and then we can move on to the next thing. Punk said he had regrets about what transpired in that media scrum and has since apologized to Khan for it. He said his and Khan's relationship now is great. It was great before, Punk. All right. Had to get away. Quote, the first thing I said to Tony when I sat down with him and spoke to him after it was, man, I'm really sorry I put you in that position. I apologize for the scrum, but when you've watched that scrum, you're looking at a very, very frustrated guy who had told people. That's not the first time he heard all that. It's not the first time lawyers were told all that. And I was just looking for something to be done and nothing got done. So if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. What? And I just didn't approach it in the right manner, but tension was high. I was very, very pissed. I pretty much knew that I had just injured myself again. I was hurt. I was disappointed. Yeah, it's very easy for me to say I regret that, and I handled it the wrong way 100%. End quote. That's kind of like Jazz kind of saying, look, I'm sorry I punched you, but I kind of had to. Right? Isn't that kind of the same? What are we looking? What are we talking about?
Sorry I punched you. I was cranky because I got hurt.
Yeah.
And I was annoyed about something. And he said it makes it sound like he's gone and spoken to Tony about it, but the fact that the fact that 9 months later we're still talking about this is ridiculous in itself. Which he does actually say in that interview. He says that like in most sports it would have been like a sort of storm in the teacup thing. Like day after people stop talking about it. In wrestling, it's like that just the whole time until it's like addressed. People seem to want to talk about that. He literally, like, in the whole thing said, my door's open. They went to his door and then he reacted like that. So his door's not open. Like he can say he said what he said, but when people have gone to talk to him about it, when he said I'm annoyed and he started throwing hands, then clearly he needs to like kind of rethink what he's saying.
And I think I know I said this to Phil. Can't remember if I said it to you on the show. I'm glad he's coming back for the biggest reason, and it's purely from a selfish standpoint. Because all those rumors that were going around about he's talked to WWE or they reached out to him or Triple H are going behind closed doors and no one knows there's texts we don't know about, whatever. I'm glad they brought him back, and I'm glad they're giving him a show, and I'm glad they're welcoming him with open arms, because if this doesn't work out, if it's by his own hand, if he is ultimately the one to blame, then when he does go back to WWE, and he will, to have the platform, and they let him drop a pipe bomb, WWE diehard fans are going to believe everything they're told. No disrespect, kids. No disrespect. They're going to believe everything they're told. The other fans in the audience are going to be like, that's not what happened. That is not what happened. Okay? So I think for Tony Khan, this is absolutely the best move, because at the end of the day, he can wash his hands of this guy and say, I did everything I could. I brought him back. I gave him the stick. I let him run, and look what he did. And honestly, let the guy dig his own grave.
Yeah, I think as well, like him coming back and messing it up himself is kind of like the biggest sort of Vince was right when Vince was like, oh yeah, I wouldn't bring him back. He's difficult to work with. It's the biggest proven everything that was said about him, right? If, as you say, if he like messes this up now, and they're literally like bending over backwards to keep this guy happy, keep this guy around. Like he's in a position that so many people in that company would like kill to be in. I'm not talking about like people lower down the card. I'm talking about guys like high up the card. Like guys who have been in the main event picture, guys who have been around the main event. Like Adam Cole's a good example. You could put an Adam Cole in that position, and he'd kill to be in that position. He's making good with what he's got. I mean, he's about to enter a world title feud, so he's doing all right. But you know what I mean? You could build that show around Adam Cole, and Adam Cole would be an absolute pro about the whole thing. And he'd like, same with Hangman, same with anyone else on the card. It really does kind of like have to be, this has to be like it do or die for Punk. It can't, he can't have any more like chances after this, I think.
No, you're right. CRP says, I'm glad he's coming back and hopefully makes good for a good show. And that's coming from very anti. See, Chris, you know what I like about you? You are, as a lot of us are, open-minded. We're not, I don't talk to, well, you guys should know, Jay, you know, I don't talk to people who go, this is how it is, period. Then I got no time for you. You know, I like open-minded. I like conversation. I don't like, this is what the truth is and shut up. Well, then don't talk to me because you're wrong. At the end of the day, whether you're right or wrong, you look like an idiot because you refuse to look at both sides and you won't keep an open mind. So I appreciate you. And Shane echoes what you just said. This has to be CM Punk's last chance. A-Dub has too much young talent to be concerned with a washed-up wrestler. Shane's not a Punk fan, Jay, with a grudge against the industry that gave him his celebrity status. But Shane, I not to play devil's advocate, because I feel like I do that with you a lot, and it's never personal. I hope you know. Punk did a lot to earn that status. He bled, sweat, missed time with family, was on the road. He worked hurt all the time, had a staph infection that could have killed him in the other company. He earned what he has. Let's be honest. But I can see where frustration is coming from with fans about this guy at the same time. So there you go. Tim says, I wonder if ice cream bars will make an appearance on AEW Collision. Everyone's talking about that. I kept the wrapper from my one at All Out in Chicago when he came back. So I kept the wrapper. It's in my drawer. So, speaking of something else that's happening very soon, a little show called The Forbidden Door is happening. We got 4 matches now, Jay. We had 2. Now we have 4. We got Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay, Bryan Danielson versus Kazuchika Okada, of course. That's enough for a show, for my opinion.
Yeah.
We now have MJF versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. I think this match is going to be lights out phenomenal. What do you think?
Yeah. I think that MJF's obviously playing down New Japan, so naturally they put him against Mr. New Japan.
And indie fed.
Yeah. I think MJF, whenever he's in a position like this, he's going to... The main thing he seems to want to do is silence the doubters, like against Danielson and going an hour and a bit with him. Against Mox, kind of like beating him at his own game almost. MJF is very like, I'm going to prove to everybody why I'm as good as I am and why I'm as good as I say I am. So if he's going against the ace of New Japan, he's gonna have like a New Japan style match, I think. And I think it's I mean, to be honest, all 4 matches that have been announced are pretty much like could be match of the year before like they've even happened. Obviously, we don't know for sure, but if you had to guess looking at a card, oh yeah, are any of these going to be match of the year contenders? You'd likely say that at least one of them is, surely.
Oh, no doubt about it.
So yeah, I think MJF Tanahashi is going to be excellent.
No doubt about it. I can't wait to see. Yeah, we did mention Andrade and Buddy, I think, didn't we, for the Collision show?
We did, yeah, briefly mention it.
Yeah, I think I love Tana so much. He is, you know, and again, not to get off on a history lesson here, right? But I don't think people can appreciate how close to death New Japan was. New Japan was in serious financial trouble. I mean, I don't know what the runway was for how much money they had left to keep operating, but from everything that I know about that company at the time, they were in serious financial trouble. Crowds had dwindled. People had left. They didn't care about that company anymore until Tana came. And Tanahashi was like parting the Red Sea. He came in like a breath of fresh air and brought that company back from the dead. And today's New Japan owes everything to Tanahashi. That dude, whatever contract he gets put on when he goes to less than part-time, whatever that looks like, he better be getting well paid. Okay, because he effing deserves it, 100%.
Yeah.
Chris says if you're Okada having a match with Bryan, you look at Ospreay and Omega and be like, LOL, we about to eight. What is it? Start this?
8 star this.
8 star? Yeah. 8 star. 8 star? I apologize, Chris. It's been a long week. We always talk about here in the States about try following that one up. Try following that. I wonder if the Japanese guys have the same I'm going to steal the show attitude, or if they just go and just kill it because they kill it. You know what I mean? I wonder how much competitive fire. I'm sure there is.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think the thing with the Japanese style is that obviously a lot of their cards are consisted with sort of 8-man matches or multi-man matches. So when they do have a singles match, it means a hell of a lot more because they've just been kind of across the ring from one another in multi-man matches, and maybe have a 5-minute sort of exchange. So when they get that big sort of blow off one-on-one match, it is going to be more exciting because it's all right, give them half an hour, let them show everyone what they can do together.
Who was it? Ray All Day says, what's the 4th match? I'm glad you asked. The IWGP World Heavyweight Championship is going to be defended by Sonata from Just 5 Guys against Jungle Boy. Now, look, they had Sonata cut this open challenge promo so Jungle Boy could accept. I'm fine with that. I don't know what to make of this. What do you make of this? What's happening here?
I think this is a dark horse for a show stealer.
I agree with that.
Both guys who kind of have a bit of an axe to grind and prove that they deserve to be in the spot they're in. Obviously, Sonata, it's his first world title reign. He's not since joining Just 5 Guys, he's not felt like he did prior to that, and I think he needs kind of to start having a few matches to sort of showcase why he is where he is and why he deserves to be where he is for the longest of times. Jungle Boy is the same. Obviously, he's we said it ourselves. He's as far as the sort of 4 pillars of AEW go. That's what defines Jungle Boy. He's just the 4th pillar. You look at the others. Darby's the daredevil. Sammy's the sort of sleazy sort of heel. MJF's the sort of main bad guy. Jungle Boy's just there to have good matches. So I think this is, as from a work rate point of view, this is going to be incredible. I think, as I say, both guys have got a kind of axe to grind and a point to prove, and I think they're gonna smash it.
Maybe you can tell me this from your perspective. What is this fascination with Jungle Boy turning into a despicable heel? Maybe I'm the only guy that thinks. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. He's. You look up White Meat Babyface. You're going to find Ricky.
Babyface.
You're going to find Ricky Steamboat Jungle Boy. Give me a better White Meat Babyface. I don't know how. Especially there's still a little bit of residual heat with Christian. How in the world, with Christian still active on the roster and not on the injured list or not gone away, I don't understand. What's this need to see Jungle Boy turn heel?
I think it would be compelling. I think he's a guy who's got really good range. I think he could. Yes, Alex Shelley. Sorry, just saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very happy with that. Jungle Boy could be a really good heel, but as you say, he's a white meat babyface. Like, why would you turn Punk heel, Jungle Boy heel when he's probably the most natural babyface they've got in the company?
Mm-hmm. And it's hard to do. The hardest job in the locker room is the babyface. Babyface is always the hardest job because a heel can do anything and still be heel. If a babyface trips over his own feet through the curtain, he's going to get laughed at. I don't care who you are. They're going to go, ho, ho, ho. A heel can do it, and it doesn't matter. A heel can screw up his promo, doesn't matter. Heel can do anything, doesn't matter. Being a heel is so much easier than being a face. If you had a bad day, awesome. Take it out on the crowd. You're good. You're solid. It's not, I'm not going to say it's not hard. It is not as hard, trust me, to be a heel versus being a babyface. Because a babyface, you can't have a bad day. You can't screw up in the ring. You can't flub your lines. You have to say ridiculous things out loud that grown men would never say to each other. And you have to have the crowd going, yeah, what he said, all right, and support you, when a lot of it is the hokiest stuff that you would ever say out loud. A heel can say anything, and it's okay because he's going to get booed regardless. I mean, it's two different things.
I think the thing as well, like, it's all well and good people wanting to see him turn heel, but what if they do turn him heel and it doesn't work?
And it doesn't work.
Then that's surely a bigger issue than the fact that you've got like a natural babyface who is a great wrestler. People enjoy watching him wrestle. It's just maybe he's not like really got much of a character.
And now you threw it out the window.
Yeah, look at prime example, Austin at Mania 17. He didn't need to turn heel, and WWE turned them heel because they were running out of ideas for him, and it backfired massively. Like it single-handedly killed the kind of like wave of momentum they were on at the time. Before that, I'm not saying like AEW turned Jungle Boy heel and it's going to tank the company, but it's very rare you have someone that the fans just want to get behind as much as that. And
to be fair, Austin wanted to turn. Austin, as the story goes, went to Vince and said, I want to turn heel.
Yeah.
And Vince apparently tried to talk him out of it. I mean, dude, when Austin wouldn't work Brock, I backed him. I said, maybe he shouldn't have went home, but I backed him because I said, you don't work Brock on free TV when you've never touched the guy, and you definitely don't put him over the first time you work. Not if your name's Steve Austin, for F's sake.
No, absolutely no.
But like when he decided, I want to turn heel, I'm like, no, what? I don't know. I don't get it. Ray with a great point. People wanted to see Cena turn, and that was never going to happen. Because at that point, well, see, Jay, at that point, I think they thought, look how much time has passed. Doesn't matter now.
But that's the thing, though. People were booing him anyway. Like, imagine if he embraced that. Like, there's going to be a period of time before he becomes a cool heel that people will boo him out the building.
True.
Yeah. Fun fact, I saw John Cena in the flesh yesterday.
Did you? Is he still over there?
Yeah, he was eating pizza in a restaurant by my work.
Nice.
So I took a little detour to just pop my head in and go, oh yeah, there he is.
Did you like wave at him or anything?
No, I was my planning was, because my brother texted me like saying, are you in the office? John Cena's at this place. I was like, oh yeah, I am. My planning was that I was going to time it where he'd have just left, so I wouldn't have had to disturb him eating his food. And yeah, he was still in there. I was like, never mind. But I think he's shooting for another couple of weeks. They certainly, like, the set's like literally over the road from where I work, so
nice.
They were adding stuff to it yesterday, so who knows.
Oh man, I like John a lot, dude. I really do. Well, kids, we are at the top of the hour. We're going to open the floor wide open. Ray, we patiently await. I bet it won't take long. Let's see. Robbie says, I can't afford to get paid for you, but I hope it's a phenomenal show. Robbie likes to throw actual wrestler names at us and see if we can guess. Dionico Torres, William
I have
Alvin
no
Moody,
idea.
and Raymond
I have
Lord.
no idea on one. I've got 2 and 3.
Is 2 Paul Bear?
2's Paul Bearer and 3's Glacier.
Nice. I don't know who number 1 is.
I couldn't tell you who 1 is.
Dionico Torres.
I'd a guess it's not La Parker, is it?
Ooh, that's a good guess.
Psychosis.
Is it? Nice.
Yeah, he's just put the answers in the chat.
CRP said the only problem I had with turning Jungle Boy Hills that they just didn't do the belt shot against Sammy and line with MJF. The entire storyline was MJF saying he would make him a star. That's fair.
I think I'm as I said, I'm not against them turning Jungle Boy heel. I think if they do it right, if they like that, like where he aligns himself with MJF, sort of like selling his soul to the devil to try and become successful, and like you could have it where off the back of that he wins like the TNT Championship or the International Championship, that would work. But
yeah, for sure. Chad says people are freaking out over Mox getting caught talking to the Bucks during the match. Really didn't bother me to be on. Look, wrestlers talk in matches. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it doesn't bother me either. I mean, look, if you've ever seen Triple H work, you know Triple H talks all through the match. You can hear him audibly over the crowd. You know,
same with Cena.
It's true. Yeah. Yeah. George South is like that too. He's a pro also, but like if George didn't like the spot you're running in the ring, he'd make you get up and run it again in the middle of the match.
I've only seen very limited footage of George South because he's been on a few GCW shows.
George is, we worked with him.
He's nuts.
He's nuts. We worked with him for a while in a promotion in my hometown, actually. And we had him up every weekend for about 1.5 years. And he's a pro. I mean, this guy bumped for Flair and Dusty in their prime. He knows how to work. So he's been around a wrestling school for years, taught his son, taught some other people. Matt Hardy was it Matt Hardy? Who was it said that they sent him to George South to train him how to wrestle? I forget who we're talking about now, but the guy knows his stuff. We were at a show one night, and if he had a 10-minute match, he would spend 5 minutes after the bell rang just jawing at the crowd. And because his message in the locker room was like, why go out there and kill yourself? If you got 10 minutes, spend 5 of it talking. Get the crowd worked up, spend 5 working, go home, you're done. You save wear and tear on your body. You put on a great match that was entertaining. Fans will be talking about it after it's over because they can't remember how much they can't forget how much they hated you. So he'd work the crowd. They'd ring the bell. His opponent knew to stand there and wait while he worked the crowd. And he got them worked up into a lather one night, okay? And this woman gets out of the front row, gets up on the ring apron. I'm at the commentary table, and I'm like, she's on, dude. And I'm yelling to get security over there, right? So they go up, and he's in the ring going like this, like put him up. Yeah. So they get her off the ring, and they escort her. I don't remember if we let her out, but we're trying to calm her down. You have to sit down. You can't do this, you know. And he gets the mic, and he says, uh-oh, you got in trouble. And he's yelling at her. At that point, we're like, George, you got to stop now. We're trying to calm her down. Such good stuff, man. Ray is here. Lil Jon or KRS-One? Lil Jon all day. And part 2, Pete Rock and CL Smooth or Mobb Deep. Pete Rock and CL Smooth. This is an easy one. And if Adam Cole came to your house with a new massage chair for you to enjoy and invited you and your family to go go-kart racing and said you can bring a friend and had an extra chair, could I have and could I join? And later wanted to take you out for grits and got coffee, could I join as well? Oh, that's a lot to unpack.
I'm going to say Lil Jon, Mobb Deep, yes and yes.
Ray, once again, my friend, you have hit us with something great. CRP said, Jimmy Jacobs as a producer, I think it is a great hire for AEW. What do you think about that, Jay?
Hell of a hire. He's responsible for Jericho's list, isn't he? It was his idea.
I think you're right.
So, yeah.
I forgot that.
He's just a really good man for the business anyway. I hope he comes out as the zombie princess and has a match once every now and again, because he's still got it. He can still go.
Mm.
He had a really good match in GCW over WrestleMania weekend with Kevin Blackwood.
Nice.
They tore the house down. So, yeah, really, really good signing.
Tim, I've not got tickets to Collision in Greensboro. I've been thinking about it. I've not done it yet. I may still do it. Vic, we have heard that, yeah, we led off the show today. It was like the second segment. We talked about the Punk interview with ESPN. Yeah. Thank you, though. Chris the K says some people commented they might use a weird name and have him be a jobber, but I don't see that happening if it does happen. Who are we talking about here? Oh, I see. The rumors of WWE interested in Hook and Taz.
I saw the thing about Hook. Yeah, it was on Fightful Select that they covered it. That like there was interest. I think the reasoning behind that could have something to do with that Cody trained him, and obviously he's probably putting a good word in. He might have an idea of when his contract's up. Maybe just kind of like floated it out to Triple H. I think the main thing with WWE at the moment is that they still on the kind of hiring freeze from the takeover. I thought they weren't bringing anyone in until like that takeover was finally done, which could be like later in the summer.
Maybe so. Jeffrey says Kevin Kelly, Naj McGuinness, and Jim Ross have been announced. Yes, we did cover that for sure.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about O'Reilly. I imagine he's on the mend, he's on the comeback trail, but I could be wrong.
Tony said something after, it might have been Revolution, saying he wasn't far off.
Mm.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he got announced as like if he came back as the Joker in the Owen. Because they usually have like a Joker pick for each like bracket, don't they? The men's and the women's.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if Kyle O'Reilly returning was. Hopefully, I mean, he's been out for a long time, hasn't he? Obviously, he had neck surgery.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, hope speedy recovery. Can't wait to see him come back. Let's see. CRP says they just signed like 8 football players, so I'm assuming they're going for big dudes to NXT. I mean, they're still doing that. We signed dudes that watched wrestling when they were 10, and now they're going to be wrestlers. Look, whatever. It's fine. We know who they want. We know who they're going for. You know what kind of. Remember back when they decided, hey, let's hire talent, and they hired Cole and all the Red Dragon guys and everybody, and you're like, wow, NXT is awesome. And now they're back to, are you an athlete? You want to maybe learn how to wrestle? Okay, and then they hire them, and now they're doing that now. But whatever. I'm not surprised by anything. Meanwhile, New Japan's sitting there with Oleg Bolton?
Yeah.
Dude, they've got young lions right now.
The big German guy as well. Oscar Bull.
Is that his last name?
I think so.
It's an interesting last name. I gotta look it up. Gonna make me crazy.
Yeah. Oscar, he looked pretty good, to be fair. He was tagging with Speedball on one of the days of the Best of Super
Oscar
Juniors.
Lube. Oscar Lube.
That's it.
Yeah. The big goofy looking white guys that are going to be somebody for sure because they can work. Yeah.
And they're getting taught like the New Japan way as well, which means they're probably going to just be working Inoki style, strong style. You'll love to see it.
Gotta love Shibata, dude. Andrade, we did mention Andrade, Miro. Yeah. There's stuff that we don't. I'm glad that some of it's going to be a surprise.
I like to think with an Andrade versus Buddy, that's going to lead to LFI versus the House of Black. Hopefully, because you know how much I love Rouge at All In. Hopefully.
Rouge tearing through House of Black like a buzzsaw.
Just embracing the chaos of House Rules.
Like no fear, right?
It is kind of like rule is that there are no rules.
Yeah. Tim, you've hit me with this a couple times. Will Okada appear?
I think I'd be surprised if he didn't.
Yeah. I don't think he gets physical, but I think he comes out on the ramp with his music and stands there.
He's shown up on the Go Home Dynamite last year, didn't he?
Did.
When like Tony Khan was like, oh yeah, Carter's not even working the show. Oh, interesting. I can see that.
God, possibly.
A God versus FTR would be a fun match.
So good.
Although it seems like we're probably going to get FTR versus Bishamon.
I love Bishamon.
We'll be fine. My only issue is it's another Wrestle Kingdom rematch they put on the card. I don't want it to be like loads of WrestleMania rematches necessarily.
That's fine. I get it. Yeah.
At WrestleMania, Wrestle Kingdom, I should say.
And I'm going to tell you something. Everybody at this point, if you're still on Yoshihatsu's back, get off it. Okay? I'm tired of it. No, he's not Mr. Charisma. But if Yoshihatsu is not proving something to everybody, I don't know what to tell you.
You've got him just like I don't want to say under the learning tree, but like absorbing the knowledge of Hiroki Goto, Ushigoroshi, and everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean,
anything with Goto is instantly better as far as I'm concerned. So
Goto reminds me. It's going to be a weird comparison. Goto reminds me of Bret Hart so much. He is.
I can see that.
He's matter of fact. He's technically sound. He can get rough when he needs to. You feel like he's legitimately tough. He doesn't complain. He just gets the job done. I mean, yeah, that's just how it looks from my seat. Let me just tell you, Chris, now that I'm in a position in my life where I don't have to being in a brick and mortar environment for my job, per se, I'm going to enjoy. I enjoyed the G1 last year. I'll enjoy it again this year. So
yeah. I did that with the Best of the Super Juniors earlier in the year, so I fully plan on doing it with the G1.
And by the way, Chad, to your point, everybody get off Jake Hager's back. Jake Hager's awesome. I like this. Look, Jake Hager stood still and said 4 words and got over.
Yeah.
Who else is doing that? Okay. I mean, it's all about crowd reaction. People. This guy isn't over. Really? Jake Hager said 4 words and wore a hat, and we can't quit talking about it. Don't tell me he's not over. Come on, shut up. Plus, he's so good, and he's in great effing shape, and he doesn't win near enough matches, in my estimation.
Yeah, he doesn't really wrestle enough, like much though, does he?
He doesn't. Took him 20 years to realize he just needed a hat. I agree. All right. Yeah. We're going to take this thing home, kids. I appreciate all you guys. Before you get out of here, before everyone leaves, hold on. Don't leave yet. Jay, take the stage. Tell the good people where they can find you on the internet.
I am part of the Untitled Wrestling Podcast. You can find us on Twitch, Twitter, and Discord at Untitled Rest Pod, and on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, Untitled Wrestling Podcast. Currently, I am running a series where me and a guest sit down and they fantasy book AEW All In from London. Tom was last week, not just gone the week before's guest. They're all on YouTube, or where podcasts are available. We also do a weekly podcast, kind of just covering all kinds of whatever's going on in the world of wrestling. And we do free to watch alongs, which is me and Troy usually watching a match on YouTube. This week, which come out today, was Kenta versus Bryan Danielson versus Samoa Joe on a Ring of Honor from like 2006, I think. It was awesome. But yeah, just go check us out. YouTube's probably the best place to get us. That's where we put most of our stuff on nowadays.
Nice. I got through this up. Tim says, describe Ishii in 1 word.
Brick walls 2.
That was good. I was going to say brick. Yeah.
Gargoyle.
Yeah.
He's like a gargoyle that's like clinging to a building.
Do you remember when he worked Kingston on Dynamite and Kingston thought it'd be a good idea to slide out of the ring and put his arm around him as if to say good match, and Ishii turned around like he was going to kill him?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Eddie is a pro. He should know. You don't do this on TV with the camera running with Ishii. Do it when you get through the curtain. What are you doing right now? Like, that guy is zoned in.
I can't wait for him to run that back in the G1.
Oh, for sure. By the way, yeah. Ishii. And by the way, has Ishii aged in 10 years? Because it doesn't look like it.
No, not.
I mean, he looks right. He looks the same all the time. It's crazy. Before we get out of here, let's you've got a great background there behind you, Jay.
I have.
Yes. So we have, again, if you just joined us, are you a Ted Lasso fan? I got a new show for you. We've got a brand new podcast coming your way very soon. It's going to be basically a rewatch of Ted Lasso. We're not going to watch in real time. There's going to be three of us, myself, Jay, and Joe. And we're going to talk about the episode, one episode at a time, 34 episodes planned, possibly with a preview and a recap. We'll see what the number comes out to. Less than 40, I imagine, for sure. The podcast can be coming your way soon. I'll be sharing details on my Facebook pages. There will be a Facebook page dedicated to it. There's already a Twitter for it. I'm not going to reveal the name yet. All that stuff is coming soon. I'll probably announce it live. We recorded a teaser video for it today that will be released as audio as well. If you are a fan of Ted Lasso, and God help you if you're not, then our podcast is going to be one you're going to want to check out. I promise you we'll make it fun. It will be entertaining, and it'll be everything you've ever dreamed of and then more. So no pressure, Jay.
I'm looking forward to it. I literally, like, the whole like run of this last season of it, I've been talking to people about it, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should do a podcast. And then you mentioned it last week. It's like, yeah, it's perfect. Perfect timing.
It is. It's, oh my God. I just can't wait. I can't wait. I'm already looking forward to it. All right, Jay, thank you as always, my friend. We'll have you back on, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, dude.
Bye-bye.
All right, kids. Jay Luft, go do me a favor. Follow the Untitled Wrestling Podcast. All right, you'll be happy you did. Great stuff. Jay is a top shelf human being. Thank him as always for being on the show. I can't wait for you guys to check out the new Ted Lasso pod. I can't wait to start recording it. I'm amped up to the moon. Can you tell? I'm getting out of here. Thanks again, kids, for everything. I appreciate you very much. We're going to see you here again next week, barring any unforeseen circumstances, and hopefully nothing bad will be happening. Fingers crossed. All right. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in. Watch you some Collision tomorrow night. Let's all see how it goes. Stay up to date on your local pro wrestling as well, of course. Please subscribe to Tom Clark's 6M podcast, movies, music, Marvel, magazines, miniseries, and more. It's available on all the major podcast platforms. Please go subscribe and download today. I would greatly appreciate it. Of course, subscribe to Tom Clark's Main Event and the Untitled Wrestling Podcast as well. And again, keep your eyes and ears open. We will be revealing details of the new Ted Lasso pod very soon. Thanks again, kids. We appreciate you very much. Have a great weekend. That's it for us, kids. We're getting out of here. Tom Clark's Main Event. Good night, Facebook. See you next time.